Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and we are continuing on with the end of year content. And so this one is the top 10 backlist books that I want to read. Some of them aren't really backlist because I can't remember the exact definition of backlist, but some of these definitely aren't backlist because they're like within a year of being published. I guess top 10 priority books that I want to read that aren't being published in 2024, which is a lot longer. I decided to try and be nice to myself, so I've gone with 5 books from my physical TBR and then 5 books that are not on my physical TBR but I want to read anyway. And the first one is The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. Obviously this is a book on my physical TBR. I've heard mixed things about this, but I don't know, I have a good feeling about it. I'm excited, but I also this cover is so beautiful. So I am really excited to read it, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to read it probably pretty early in the new year, hopefully. But this story is a kind of chosen one story, and so we follow the supposed chosen one, but then we learn that the prophecy isn't actually true. He then, for the first time in his life, has to work to be the hero, and I think there's a ragtag group of people that come to help him actually be the hero that he wants to be, I guess. And I'm really excited about this. I don't actually know how many books are gonna be in this series, because I originally thought that it was going to be a duology, but I know that there's going to be actually at least 3 books. But I just love the covers, okay? It's a bit of a cover buy, if we're going to be 100% honest. But as I said, I have heard mixed things. But the people who really love it. So I hope to be one of those people. The next one is both nice and mean to myself, because I'm bullying myself, but also I really need to read this book, and that is Fool's Quest by Robin Hobb. I haven't read a single Robin Hobb book this year. I was all caught up all the way through Catch Up Book Club, but then last year I had the worst slump in the world, and so I stopped when it came to Fool's Quest, and I need to finish it. But now it's been so long that I'm scared to continue. And also I know that the last book is going to absolutely wreck me, and I don't want it to be over, so I just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. But I'm putting my foot down. Next year I'm going to finish this series. So yeah. Also, I will say I did actually come close to starting it. The audiobook wasn't available on SCRIBD, despite the fact the audiobook has always been available on SCRIBD. And it wasn't that I was in SCRIBD jail. I think it was around the time that they were messing with their server to change things over to Everend. It's still SCRIBD to me, but whatever. I know it's technically not SCRIBD anymore. But so the final book was available to me, but this book wasn't. And so I think maybe that's why, but because I think it's available to me again. So yeah, so hopefully that means I'll actually read it this time. But yeah, oh god, this series. So this series, it starts all the way back there, and we follow Fitz. And he is dropped off at the keep by his maternal grandfather when he is young, because he is the illegitimate son of the Prince Chivalry. And so Prince Chivalry abdicates, moves to the countryside, and Fitz is just left there by himself. And then eventually he grows up a bit and he is trained to be the royal assassin. I'm kind of talking about it. I really want to reread the original series, but no, I'm not allowed to do that until I finish this. Once I finish it, I can go back and start rereading it. So then the third book is actually a pretty new addition to my TBR, but it's a pretty chunky one. So I'm saying it out loud might actually encourage me to read it. And that is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I will say I love these covers so much more than the original ones. I've heard mixed opinions, especially about the writing style. I feel a lot of people complain that it's very slow, very dry, but I have also heard just such good things about the world, and it's just such an interesting story, and I am intrigued to pick it up. And obviously I bought it, and obviously this year I've been trying not to buy books without reading the first series or not having read from the author before. I'm trying to get them from my library or on SCRIBD or whatever before I pick them up. And obviously a lot of books that you are going to see on this list are books that I've broken that rule for. So I need to try them and see if I was right to break the rule. And so this one, I really actually don't know what it's about. So Emperor was the first to reunite the island kingdoms of Dara under a single banner, but now the Emperor is on his deathbed. His people are exhausted by his vast conscriptive engineering projects, and his counselors conspire only for their own gain. Even the gods themselves are restless. And then abandoned, and the son of its deposed duke cross paths, and they lead their own rebellion against the Emperor's brutal regime. Interesting. So hopefully I will like this. And then continuing the rule breaking, I also got Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reid. And this one, okay, I actually, The reason why because I bought these two on the same day, was because I went into a used bookstore, and you can either get money back or you can get store credit, and I could either get €17 back or €47 in store credit. And so I was like, store credit. And so then I went into their new bookstore, which is right beside the used one, and I was like looking around, and they didn't have like, they had like 2 books that I did really want that I've already read. But then I was kind of just looking around, and like, you know what, I've heard really good things about the 2 of these, and so I was like, while I have the credit, might as well use them. And so this one I'm not as sure about, because like, it's not really my thing. Like, I've heard that it's like, it's a little horror-y, but it's also fantasy, and it's mixed opinions I've heard about it. But I think it was that Sarah told me to read this ages ago though. Sometimes we have similar taste, so I'm hoping that this is an example of a time we have similar taste. Like, I've heard that the characters are really interesting, and like, it's very atmospheric, it's beautifully written, and so we follow Marlinchin and her sisters are the last true witches in the city, shifting from magic to industry. Viewed as little more than tourist traps, they spend their days treating clients with archaic remedies and nostalgic charms, while trying to placate their father, who keeps his daughters locked away in their crumbling house. At night they sneak out to revel in the city's thrills, particularly the recently established ballet theatre, but as their late night trysts grow more fervent and frequent, so does the threat of their father's rage. There's a human monster, and then there's like magical monster, and I like those kind of stories that like explore that stuff, so I could definitely like this. And it's short enough, so like it should be a quick read, and the text is pretty big, like, so hopeful, but yeah, a bit of a different one for me. The last book for my physical TBR that I'm going to talk about is The Bone-Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, which again, I broke the rules for. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like this, but I've heard like extremely mixed things, more leaning negative about the second and third one. I feel like there's like 2 people I follow that really like the second and third one, and then everyone else dislikes them. So like, that scares me. This follows the Emperor's daughter, and her father has bone shard magic, and he is refusing to teach this to her, and so she tries to go out of her way to learn it herself. She's hoping that by proving that she can learn this magic, that she will prove herself worthy to be the heir. So those are the 5 that I physically own on my TBR, but there's obviously 5 more, and so number 6 is a bit cheating, if we're being honest, because it literally just says Brandon Sanderson. So on my top 10 priority of this year, which I suppose I never actually went through at the start of this video. I've read most of them, not all of them. But I actually have the Alloy of Law. Is that the, no, that's not the, is that what it's called? First book in Mistborn Era 2. I do not want to read Mistborn Era 2. And like, I know a lot of people say you have to read those before you read Stormlight. If I don't really care about like all of the Cosmere connections, can I read Stormlight by itself? Like, I won't be like confused when I get to like the 4th book if I haven't read them. Like, it'll still all make sense. It's just I won't pick up on the cool connections, which I'm okay with. So like, I want people to tell me that it's okay for me to like start on Stormlight, because I don't want to read Mistborn Era 2. I have no interest in it. And that's why I just put his name down, because I've come to the conclusion that I don't really care about the Cosmere as a whole, but there's like bits of it that I am interested in. So like, I want to try Stormlight, but if I don't love book 1, I'm not going to continue it. I'm sorry. But like, I really enjoy Tress of the Emerald Sea. So like, also like, if I don't read Stormlight, I could also read like Yumi and the Nightmare Painter or whatever. So I could read one of the secret projects as well. So like, that's what I'm saying, is like some Brandon Sanderson book. I want to read one. Book number 7 on this list is Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey, which is the first book in the Dragon Riders of Pern, I think the series is called. And this is an old series that I've heard stands up pretty well, like not perfectly, but overall pretty well. I think it stands up to the test of time. And if you've watched my anticipated release video, which I'll leave linked down below, I mentioned that I want to read The Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons, which she says is highly inspired by this book and series. And also, Emma loves this series, and Cassidy loved the first book. So I do want to try the first book at least. And I'm thinking that like, it might be fun to do a reading vlog where I read like The Sky on Fire as like my anticipated release, along with like Dragonflight that inspired it. I think it would be a fun idea, but I'm not 100% sure. But I do want to read this book either way. And number 8 is a book that a good few people have been telling me to read, and that is Fireborne by Rosario Linda. When I tell you, this book has been on my want to read on Goodreads for years, because I remember, I cannot remember, I think it was Instagram, I saw someone talk about it and I was like, oh my god, that sounds so cool. And it was before they got the pretty covers. It's the ugly cover that I remember seeing. And I remember being like, oh, that sounds so cool. And so I saved it on my Goodreads, which I don't update my want to read on Goodreads anymore, really. Like, occasionally I'll just like say want to read if it's like a sequel or something. But like, I very rarely go through want to read. So that's how long it's been that I've been like, I need to read that book. And I had not read that book. So, and then Maria loves it. Cassidy loves it. Mel loves it. Everyone loves this book. And I need to read it. So this follows two people. In this world, there was a rebellion which took down the like nobility, and supposedly all of the classes are a lot more equal now, but obviously a lot of that stuff still exists. It's just slightly better hidden. And so we follow two of these characters. So one was like one of the prince, I'm not sure was like a prince or like a noble or something, but he was supposed to die, but he is still obviously around. And then we follow like a girl who was like the daughter of like the lower class members, and we follow the two of them when they're supposed to be like in this school with like the exact same opportunities, but that actually isn't technically true. And we follow them as maybe the new system isn't that different from the old one. And I am intrigued. I've heard such good things, but I'm afraid of it a little. Then number 9, again, this is one that I have on my Goodreads want to read. So that tells you how long it's been that I've been saying I should read that book. And that is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. This is one of the first romance books that like actually like I was like, I kind of want to read that. That sounds fun. And it's been years later. Like, I don't know what year that was released, but that's the year that I first heard about it. And I was like, oh, that sounds so good. But I don't read romance. And so I didn't read it. But now I read romance. Like, yeah, not often, but I do occasionally read it. So I'm like, why haven't I read it yet? And I think it's because I'm afraid that I'm not going to like it. Because it follows a couple and they are engaged and their wedding is coming up very soon. And both of them are no longer enthusiastic, let's say, about getting married. But they don't want to have to pay for the wedding, which they definitely would if they cancelled this close to the wedding. And so the two of them just start pranking each other and annoying each other, try and get the other one to be the one to break it off. And then obviously through this, they kind of start to realize that, you know, there's a lot of chemistry there. It's not like the most well-loved romance, probably because like that does sound a little toxic, but I want to give it a go. Okay, so we have one romance on here, which is weird for me, but we're gonna give it a go. And so then the final book is also cheating. Like this year, I'm reading all 10 of these, no matter what. And so I went for little easy ones. And so this one is The Girl in the Stars by Mark Lawrence, which is literally the Backlist book club pick. So like I will be reading it in like the first week of January probably, because I think the live show will probably be mid-January. So I'll be reading it like really early in January. So as I said, am I cheating a little? No. Like, am I making it easy? Yeah. But oh well. So yeah, so The Girl in the Stars, I don't know what it's about. I know that it is set obviously in the same world as the book as the Ancestor, but it follows a different part of the world with that has all of the ice, and it's a very like brutal culture, and we follow, and I think that there's like either some sort of test or something that they have to go through, and if they fail it, they get basically thrown into a pit, and our main character's brother gets thrown in and she jumps in after him basically. And that's kind of all I know. I'm a little nervous about this because obviously I gave the entire Book of the Ancestor series at 3 stars, so like a little scared, but I'm excited to give it a go. So yes, so those are the 10 books that I want to read in 2024, and I'm pretty sure I'll do it. I'm confident that I'll do it. Honestly, it would not surprise me if I do it all except Fool's Quest. Tell me, what is your one book that you have to read this year? Like, one book. Because I feel like if I have to choose one, it's gotta be Fool's Quest. If there's one book I have to read this year, I have to read that book. If not, someone can come to my house and like literally just like put it in front of me and be like, read. So yes. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!